Hello friends, and welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal, and in today's video, I am going to be putting together my next 2 spreads using the Strong Story Kit from Ali Edwards for StoryKitCrush. This is a series where I pull out one story kit every month, and I do my best to use up the entire kit and tell as many stories as I can using that kit. This is going to be my 4th video, so if you haven't seen the first couple videos or my planning process video, I will make sure to link the entire playlist in the description below and at the eye up above, so you can definitely go and check all of that out. Today, my 2 stories are actually the same, just about 2 different people. So I'm doing a spread about my dad and about my mom, because these are 2 of the strongest people that I know. And I wanted to take an opportunity to sit down and write out some of my thoughts and feelings about who they are as individuals and the pride that I have in having them as my parents. So I have created a photo collage for each of them, which I'm planning to go ahead and cut apart and add onto my spread. And then we're just going to create a grid 12 by 12 for my dad and a 12 by 12 for my mom. And then these are going to sit in my story 12 by 12 album, just side by side. So what I'll do is go ahead and put you on fast forward while I get all of this assembled. And then when I've got this all set and ready to go, we'll slow back down to finish our video out for today. So let's go ahead and jump right in. To get started on these layouts today, the first thing I'm going to do is take both of the all of the supplies for both of the layouts and go ahead and lay them out the way that I want them to go. It lets me know which orientation to put the different cards in because it is essentially all one story. I just broke it up onto the 2 separate cards. So it leaves, it starts at the top with mom and then me talking to her, and then it continues on the bottom until the end. And then my dad's works the same way. So one of them is the definitive top card and one of them is the bottom. In between those 2 cards, I am adding the large felt hearts. And then for my dad's, I'm going to use the strong plastic piece. And then for my mom's card, I've got a fussy cut out heart from one of the 3x4 cards. So now that I have things roughly where I want them to go, I set aside the spread that's going to be for my mom, and I'm going to work on the one for my dad first. So here is my tip and trick for working with grids like this. I only trimmed off the top photo there, so you can see that I still have the white part of the photo connected to the top of the 2 smaller photos. That lets me position the entire thing where it is straight and even, and then also gives me the right amount of space that I want to put in between my photos. So once I have that where I like it, I can press it all down, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the bottom. So I'm keeping the white portion on there. I'll add my adhesive onto the back of the photo, and then I'm going to get the middle photos positioned where they are even with the top, and then I can use that as my guide for where to add the photo on the bottom. So it works really nicely for helping me to keep everything spaced evenly. Next, I'm going to trim out the rest of this, but I'm going to keep one of, right now I have both of them, but I'm going to keep one of those strips of white, again, to use as a guide. So I've got my 2 photos. I'm going to add adhesive onto the back of them. And then I can pull back over the large page and use the strip of white. I'm going to use it at the top just because that's easier for me to help me position it and make sure that there's the right amount of distance in between the photos. So now everything's going to be even. It's going to be straight. I don't have to use rulers or anything like that. It just, it is where I want it to go. But I like having the photos cut apart with the textured cardstock in between because it gives it a little bit more dimension and it makes it feel a little bit more textural as you are looking and feeling and touching this page. Now that I have that portion done, next what I'm going to do is add the stripe rainbow paper. Now this came from a 4x6 journaling card. I used a portion of it already, I believe on 1 or 2 spreads. I think 2 of them I've already used it on. And this is going to be the 3rd and 4th spread that one card is going to be stretched across. So for this one, I have 2 strips that are 1/2 of an inch wide. And what I'm going to do is adhere those next to, but not directly next to, the photos. So there's going to be a little bit of space in between the photos and that pattern paper. I definitely get on the struggle bus a little bit with this one because it just didn't seem very straight. Like I kept trying to put it down and I would turn it and see if it looked straight, and it just wouldn't look straight. So then I would adjust it and it still wouldn't look straight. I think what I ultimately figured out is that my 12 by 12 paper was actually not cut straight. So you can see that it's a little bit angled at the top left corner there. So I'm going to bring my trimmer back over and then trim that piece up, and that's going to help this to look straighter. I don't know what happened there. I don't know why I didn't trim this straight in the first place. Who knows? But now that it's looking a little bit better, I'm going to add all of these pieces on here, get them where I want them to go. And we're going to start with the heart piece, where I'm just going to staple the plastic strong word on top of the blue navy heart. Navy blue heart. I said that backwards. So I stapled it on there for safekeeping. I believe I put 2 staples in it just so I can make sure it is extra secure. Again, trimming that up again just because it just felt like it was still not straight. Maybe it's the stripes of this pattern paper that's playing tricks on my eye. I don't really know. It's really hard to tell if it is actually straight or not. It's wild. But I'm going to eventually give up and call it okay. It's good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. It is good enough. And then I'm going to take the 2 journaling cards. So I'm starting with the card that says Be Strong. And then I'm adding the second card at the very bottom that says Day by Day, I believe. Yes, Day by Day. That's going to go at the bottom. And then I will add my felt heart into the middle of those 2 squares. To add my felt heart, I'm going to grab some double-sided adhesive. Mine comes from scrapbook.com, and I believe, yes, this one is a 1/4 of an inch thick. I like to get both the 1/4 inch and the 1/8 inch. I think that those are just the easiest sizes for me to work with the type of scrapbooking that I do. So then I can remove the backing, stick that into the middle, and that's going to hold this really strong. Anytime you stick felt to something adhesive, it's going to, I don't have to worry about it. And then it sticks really nicely onto the textured white paper as well. So that finishes up the one for my dad. I will eventually date stamp it when I get done with this one as well. So both of these will end up with a date stamp. So we're going to start this a little bit backwards. We're going to go with the journaling cards first, and then we'll build the rest of the pieces on here. So now that I have the one for my dad completed, the rest of this comes together super quick because I've got my system down. So I took the card that has this heart on it, and I fussy cut the heart out of that, and I did that during my planning process video because I already knew that this is what I wanted to do with it. Sometimes I just go for it and, let bygones be bygones. It'll be totally fine. So that's what I did with the stripe card, and that's also what I did with this strong mind and heart card. So I fussy cut the heart out of there, leaving a little bit of that darker teal color on the outside, stuck that into the middle of the gray felt heart, and I added 2 staples just to mimic the left side of this spread, which is the one about my dad. So his has 2 staples in the plastic word, so now this one has 2 staples in the cardstock. Then I'm going to add my stripe piece on here. This one goes so much better. It goes on there and it looks straight. So I really am thinking it must just be a trick of my eyes on the other one. That's gotta be it, because it just doesn't make sense. That maybe when we get all the photos collaged on there, it just starts to look like, whoa, maybe that isn't super straight. Who knows? For my photos, I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did on the other side. So we're going to trim off the top photo first, use the bottom section to line it up where we want it to go, and then adhere that down. Then I'm going to trim off the bottom portion, and we're going to do the same thing. So We'll stick the middle part of the photos in the middle, use that as an alignment tool, and then stick down the bottom photo. And then we're going to work on those middle ones where we will trim all the rest of it out, but I'm going to keep the top and the bottom sections intact. So we're going to trim off the top and the bottom first and then trim in between them, which is going to give me a guide for the top portion when placing those photos into the middle. So I can set aside my trimmer. I think I'm done with it for now, and add my adhesive on here. And then I just have to use only one of those is actually necessary. The other one I'll take off because I don't need it. And then we'll use that to help me line up where the photos go. The nice thing is too that I trimmed it like just a hair too close to the photo, so there's a little bit of the photo color on that strip, which also helps me to line up my photos a little bit easier and know exactly where they're going to go. So now we've got both of these spreads done. The last thing that I need to do is grab my date stamp, and I'm going to add that along the edge of the hearts. So one over by my dad and then one over by my mom. It's just going to have the same exact date on it because it was all done on the same day. All right, friends, that completes both of my spreads for today. I really love the way that these both turned out, and I think that they're going to look so nice to each other in the album, just like this. So where the grid of photos is all in the center, and then the journaling and the hearts are on the outside. I think that that just looks really clean and classic. I hope that you have enjoyed seeing these come together. If you have, I would love a thumbs up on this video down below, and make sure you hit that subscribe button while you're there if you haven't already, so you can catch all of my future crafty videos. I will be back again next week with my last couple of spreads using the Strong Story Kit. So we're going to finish out the Strong Story Kit Crush edition next week. If you are interested in seeing more of my process videos, then you can find here. I also have more exclusive content available over on my Patreon, which you can check out by following the link in the description box down below. And also, any of the supplies I used in creating these spreads today will also be linked up down there as well. All right, friends, well, until next time, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend ahead, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, friends.